Is this thing on? It started with two outspoken guys who have opinions on everything from Hollywood to DC. It's the Average Joe's Radio Show. Average Joe's Radio Show.
Are we on? Are we on? Yeah, we're live.
And we're live, dude. This thing works. I'm shocked. Let's get this thing going. All right, guys, welcome to the Average Joe's Radio Show. I'm Mike.
I am Danny.
And pretty much this is going to be a podcast for the average man, woman, child, you know, anybody who wants to hear two guys talk about pretty much anything that they feel like they want to talk about, whether it's movies, TV shows, that crazy-ass White House, anything that comes to mind.
You name it, we got it.
That's right.
That's kind of how it works.
Of course, man. And today we're going to actually cover a few things that we actually saw over the last few days, which was The Walking Dead season opening for season 8.
Yes.
And you just recently finished Stranger Things season 1, kind of in time for season 2, and we're going to go into that a little bit. And then kind of at the end, we'll do a little questionnaire, have some fun, get to know each other a little better, and we'll have some laughs and maybe even crack open a couple beers. Who knows? The day is young.
I'm already a little ahead of you on that one, but hey.
All right, man. Well, what would you rather talk about first? Do you want to go for Stranger Things or do you want to go for The Walking Dead?
Well, I mean, we can start Stranger Things. That's fine.
All right. What's the first thing on your mind? Because you just finished it. I again gave you the idea to watch the show because I told you to get ready for season 2 since I really enjoyed it. But
yeah, tomorrow.
I'll get into my thoughts later. But I want to hear starting with overall thoughts. Since it's fresh in your mind, what did you think about Stranger Things?
My first takeaway from Stranger Things is it was completely different from what I was expecting based off of what people were telling me it was, like the general concept of it. They're like, yeah, it's about kids in the 80s. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is this monster thing? Like, I had no idea that it was like an old 80s sci-fi series. Which,
it's amazing. Are you kidding me?
So that to me was a very pleasant surprise because I like old cheesy sci-fi things. And I mean, the root of it is a cheesy sci-fi flick.
Yeah, the best kind.
Yeah. And so you're like, yeah, cool. Like, I can get into this. Like Roxy, we were watching it, and she was under the same impression that I was, and she's like, oh my God, this shit is scary. Like, I was not anticipating this stuff. Like, things coming out of walls, and I really liked it. And the kid actors are fucking good.
Yeah, those kids were blowing it up, man.
They were good. Shout out to Dusty.
You know, I'll say this. Shout out to Dusty. Yes. Honestly, I would say this: the vibe of that show got me from the beginning. Like, I feel like those guys that created the show really just understood tone, man. Like, they captured like 80s pop culture in this little bubble, and the best parts of like sci-fi is what they brought to the table. Because for the most part, you look at something like the Sci-Fi Channel, and it's so fucking boring, dude.
Right.
Or it's so cheesy, the effects, or you're like, nobody knows how to write this stuff and make it interesting. Like, I remember when I first started watching it, I didn't go into it with any preconceived notions. I kind of started watching it before anyone told me to watch it.
Right.
And I was like, all right, well, let's just see this because Netflix has kind of been hitting them out of the park. So we'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. Dude, I remember halfway through the first episode, I'm like, I think this just might be my new favorite show, period.
Yeah.
And it was the music. Dude, the intro video, that synthesized like music, just freaking nails like the just brooding, like sick nature of what the creature's going to be, but also like the suspense and kind of thriller aspect of what you go through with the human characters, which I thought was freaking awesome.
Yep. And then,
go ahead.
I was going to say, even, they secured Winona Ryder. She's not the greatest actress in the world.
There's some shit missing from that set.
Right. But she's at least a well-known actress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whether she's a klepto actress or not, she was still, she thought that the script was good enough to actually go into.
Of course, man.
Which was
She hasn't done too much. I mean, I could be wrong. I haven't checked her IMDb or anything, but I don't think she's did too much since before that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the only other thing that I could really think of is Mr. Deeds.
That's the last thing I saw her in, so yeah. I agree. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, she was a lying sack of shit in that, too.
But the guy who played Hopper, David Harbour, like, that guy is easily my favorite character on that show.
Oh, by far.
And I remember they had I forgot where he was. I think he was either on the Tonight Show or he was on Jimmy Kimmel or something like that. And he basically said that, like, in the first, people started tweeting out as they were watching the show live when it first went on Netflix. They were saying, like, oh, who is this Hopper guy? Get him out of here. And then they said by, like, episode 3, if Hopper dies, we're boycotting this show.
Yeah. I mean, he by far, like I said, the kid actors are great. What I always look for in a show to grab me being a wrestling fan is I look for character building.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, like, you don't have to be a wrestling fan. You don't have to like it, whatever. You can say it's fake. But it's essentially the same thing. It's a TV show. It's an episodic TV show every single week. So I look for character building. And I thought Hopper's character's deep. I mean, on so many different levels. I thought
it's not even so much that he's deep, is that he just sold it. He was like, that's one of those characters, like the way you kind of see like Robert Downey in Iron Man.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Or you see Henry Cavill as Superman. You just see people that were clearly born to play those characters. He just fit that, like, seasoned cop who's, like, very distrusting but extremely intelligent and just, like, I don't know, man. It hooked me.
Yep.
And the thing that got me about the kids is that it actually reminded me of when I played with my friends as kids.
Right.
I don't know why I said it like that, but like when we were kids, we played like that. We talked like that. That's how it was. Like when you played board games with your friends, obviously once you hit puberty, then the talk changed and we went to dark places. But other than that, like when you were a kid and you were still innocent, that's what it was like.
Yeah.
And I thought they nailed it perfectly. Like Lucas is probably my favorite kid. I know everyone loves Dusty, but Lucas is like my favorite kid because I don't know. He reminded me a lot of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So
he was cynical.
Yeah, he was cynical. Absolutely.
I just thought that like I said, and then, you know, 11 is a very interesting character. I mean, and it was cool because at the end, and you're like, okay, obviously, like, she's the kind of...
Spoiler alert if you have not seen Stranger Things, but at this point, if you haven't seen Stranger Things, I'm very upset with you.
That's your own fault.
That's your own fault.
I watched the entire season in 2 nights.
So you can do it.
You can do it.
Technically, we haven't really ruined anything, but just in case, you've been warned.
I almost ruined it, but now I'm going to ruin it. So when she disappears at the end, like, essentially, she's the main character for all the kids.
She's what the story's building around.
Right.
Her and Will.
So I'm like, okay, so she disappeared, and I'm like, okay, she's got to come back at some point. I don't know how they're going to bring her back. And then when you see Hopper go outside, and then he puts Eggos in the thing, I'm like, oh shit, that's for Elle. That's awesome. Like, that to me was great. I loved it.
That was enough that you didn't kind of need to be told she was alive. There was enough insinuation there that clearly 11's not done.
But it was just that little bit where you're like, all right, cool. Like, you know what I mean? So those little subtleties that they do in shows.
I'll tell you what I thought was awesome is how they literally made it. Like, did you ever see Signs?
Yeah.
With Mel Gibson?
Mm-hmm.
How they treated the alien in that movie. You didn't see much of it, so they kept the suspense. Like, you saw a hand under a door. You saw, like, it kind of walk by a camera.
Right.
You saw it do simple things, but you never really got a good, clean look at the alien.
Right.
Until, like, maybe near the end of the movie. And that's what the show did really well. They teased the Demogorgon as this character, like, with no face, and they kind of popped up when it took Barb. You didn't see it completely. Like, you kind of saw it do the Freddy Krueger thing where it pushes through the walls and everything like that. And I feel like that's the perfect way to sell a character like this, because nowadays when we watch movies and TV shows, we've literally seen it all. There's nothing that really there's nothing with real shock value. We've literally seen a high school teacher become a freaking drug maker. You know what I mean?
Right.
We've seen sci-fi movies that have shown us just about every kind of creature. You've seen Pacific Rim where they literally the size of Godzilla or even bigger.
Yep.
So there's not a whole lot that can surprise you when it comes to monster building. So when they can build the suspense around showing you a creature in spurts like that, I feel like they nailed it.
Yes, I agree. I do. I think that what's funny about that is I did not realize what the Demogorgon was going to look like until I was at FYE and I was looking at the pop figures and they had the fucking Demogorgon pop figure with the face opened up and I was like, come on, spoiler.
Dude, I told you that was your fault. You should have watched it when it first came
I
out.
should have. But you know what? I just finished Game of Thrones, which is on your homework list.
Oh my god.
So we'll talk about that in 7 months by the time Mike's able to finish it all.
That's kind of put. You gave me like a 20-page essay on something that I wasn't about to write, and now you're telling me I got to get it done. So
That's right.
My homework's pretty completely.
You guys hear it. It's on the record now.
Yeah, I have to watch Game of Thrones. I've seen a few episodes of it, and honestly, it's not like it's uninteresting. It's just it was never my thing. That kind of like show about, I don't know, like that medieval dragons and all that stuff. It's never really been my thing. I've always been a superhero guy. Anyone who knows me knows it's superheroes any day of the week for me. But I'm going to give it a shot. And then we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I want to know this. Let's start with what you didn't like on Stranger Things. If there's anything. Because, I mean, obviously, you may not even have anything. But I want to know, what didn't you like?
You know what's funny is what I didn't like the most about that show was the same thing that I mentioned first. I absolutely hated Winona Ryder in it.
Okay.
I thought, like,
That's fair enough.
she did a good job, and chances of her ever listening to this are probably slim to none, but she did a good job at looking like a crazy,
frantic
cracked
mother.
out, frantic, psycho mother. She did a great job at looking like that.
I don't know. I bought into her being that mom just because, like, I have a very worrisome mom sometimes, and
don't say.
yeah. But I love her. You know what I mean? It's just the whole point is, like, I can see she sold that mom who's completely at the end of her rope because she doesn't know what happened to her kid.
Try anything and everything.
Yeah, and even when she was telling, like, the kid, like, oh, the lights are turning on and it's your brother and everything like that, and you see the kid look like, Mom, you're losing your shit. And it sold it to me because her performance sold it to me. I was never a giant Winona Ryder fan, but at the same time I wasn't a hater.
Right.
Because I remember I started watching her more, like, I remember the first sci-fi thing I ever saw her do was Alien Resurrection. Mm-hmm. And she played the robot in that, and I didn't mind her performance in that. I mean, clearly Sigourney Weaver's the better actress in that respect, but I don't mind her. I think she did a good job. You're not liking her as an actress. I guess that's more of a personal taste.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to say she's a bad actress, but I felt that
She's just not your favorite.
she's not my favorite. But the way that the way that everybody else was casted, like I said, it was cool that they got a known actress. Mm-hmm. But I feel that it could have been brought out better if it was somebody that you have never seen before,
Right.
like the rest of the cast.
Yeah, I mean, David Harbour had done a few things. He was in Suicide Squad.
That's right, yeah.
He was one of the people in the boardroom talking to Amanda Waller.
But he wasn't a huge.
He definitely wasn't like the centerpiece character by any stretch.
Right.
The kids, the one kid, Mike, in the show, funny enough, he was in the movie It, the new one that just came out.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
You have to see that because that same way the kid dynamic that they nailed in Stranger Things, they nailed in It.
Right. Okay.
I always feel weird when I just end it with It, but that's the name of the movie. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
It. Period.
Yeah, It. Period. The kids in that movie, like, they curse like kids that are like teenagers. They literally talk. They rag on each other like real friends do. Like, even worse than Stranger Things. In Stranger Things, I feel like the kids were like best of friends that were there to support each other. They didn't really rag on each other too much because they were kind of like the outcasts, as it was. Like,
Right.
so they had other people bullying them. And in this movie, the kids kind of bully each other.
Okay.
And it was really fun to watch. But Mike is in that movie, and he's freaking hilarious.
Got it. Okay.
So
yeah, he's a good actor. He's a good little actor. He really is.
He really seems to like the whole sci-fi horror aspect of
He
it,
seems like he would like it, though.
Yeah, because that's the second project he's done like that. So
Hey, if it pays the bills.
all right.
Jesus.
So are you excited for season 2 now that you finished?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes out tomorrow. My goal is to have the entire second season completed by Monday.
Yeah, that's me too. I don't think I'm going to make it to Monday without that.
I mean, I've already set aside time tomorrow to watch at least 3-4 episodes.
Have you seen the trailer for season 2?
Yes.
The trailer for season 2 is probably one of the best trailers I have seen all year.
Yeah.
For anything.
Yes.
Movie, TV show, anything, because they nailed again just what I want this show to be. It's like the writers went in my brain, took my ideas of what I want to see and put it on there. Seeing them in Ghostbusters outfits.
Yep.
Seeing them like with they literally synced up Michael Jackson's Thriller to like every scene that you saw, and the music is perfect for what they were showing you.
Yep. Soundtracks are they're vital. Like if you watch the original run of the Wonder Years, that to me is by far the greatest show of all time.
What would you do if I sang? I can't sing, so I don't know what I mean.
Now, however, though, if you watch it on Netflix, where 90% of the original soundtrack is replaced, the show sucks.
Oh yeah, why do they do that? Because I remember I watched Supernatural when I had it on Blu-ray, and then I watched some of it on Netflix. I'm like, that's not the music that was in this episode. Like, I know it wasn't.
It's like they only secured the rights for X amount of time, or for like an original run or something along those lines.
I don't know.
But
that literally pulls me out of the show when I know it was something else and they replace it.
Right.
So.
But you know, back to our thoughts about Stranger Things. That's one thing that is vital is the soundtrack. The soundtrack, everything just works together very well. It's like a meatloaf.
Dude, I agree, and you know what it is? It's that I said it earlier. It's the synthesized music.
Yeah, that was so popular in the 80s.
So popular in the 80s, but it sells like a haunting, like awesome nature to it. I don't know, like I love even hearing like classic themes, like the Mario theme or the Donkey Kong theme, or anything in synthesized music because it just sounds so much cooler.
Yeah. That's why you see that's why you see these like Nintendo soundtracks are always very popular on iTunes.
Oh my God, yes. I'll say this, like even simple moments, like I said, you kind of seen everything on TV shows, right? Do you remember when Eleven flips that van that's chasing the kids on the bike? That was awesome.
Yes, it was.
And you've seen, like, I'm going to say, like, telepathy being used for other things, like in other shows. Like, you've pretty much seen Professor Xavier in the X-Men use it to do all kinds of crazy stuff. But a simple act of flipping a van, they made that cool again. Like something where you're like, she doesn't use her powers in huge amounts, but when she does, it means something. It means something, exactly. Like when she uses it to save them when all the guys from the Hawkins lab come to get them at the school, like she uses it, and then the Demogorgon obviously plays its part. But
well, then also, like to that point is when she uses her powers, it drains her. It's not like guys that use their powers.
Yeah, she looks like Michael Schofield right after she's done using it with the nose plates.
Oh, jeez. Speaking of that, did you ever watch the reboot of Prison Break?
Oh my God, yes. I think it had a slow start, but I love how it finished. They gave it a better finish than what the show gave it when they did the final break where he brought like Sarah out of prison.
Right. So I don't think I ever finished it.
You need to go back.
I was just talking about that last night. I was like, I think we've watched like 6 of the episodes.
Yeah.
I think there were 8 in total or something like that.
There were 8. I'm pretty sure there were 8 total. And I don't know, man. I kind of liked it because they kind of dug into like what's going on now with our politics. Like ISIS was like the backbone story.
Right, yeah.
And they made Michael look like he was like the one who killed the leader of ISIS. And it was crazy. I mean, I really enjoyed it. And it had a better ending overall to the series than whatever they tried to do where they tried to fake Michael's death.
Right.
At the end of the original series.
Yes.
So I'm glad they rebooted it because to me it was finally like giving the proper ending to a show that deserved it.
Correct.
Because the first 2 seasons of Prison Break, some of the best damn television you can watch. Season 3 took a slump. Season 4 was kind of like a heart monitor. It had its spikes of ups and downs, and it kind of ended on a down for me. Yep. So I'm kind of glad they rectified that. So
yeah. So what was your favorite thing about Stranger Things?
My favorite thing about Stranger Things, I would probably say, like I said, it's probably the tone. I said it earlier, but it's the truth, man. I've never seen a show that just truly understood what it was supposed to be and went after it and met the target 120% of the time.
Yeah.
Like the music, the characters, the story, the slow burning build up to get to the climax of almost every episode. Like the only thing that bugged me about the show is like how neglectful the parents are in that show or just how non-existent. Like nobody gave a shit about Barb.
Right.
Like, remember, Barb was like the focus on like episode 2 or 3. Like, oh, she's also gone, and then nobody gave a shit.
Her mom
there's
was
some
like,
neglectful police force there.
She's missing.
They said there's going to be like justice for Barb in the 2nd season or something like that, but we'll see. Like, if she's, I'm pretty sure she's still dead. She literally was throwing up a slug in what looked like a damn cocoon. So
yeah, she looks like she
looks like she's dead.
She's toast.
Yeah. That's what you get when you put a character in giant glasses and a librarian's blouse. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But so it's funny that you say about the parents is because I remember And obviously, I'm a few years older than you.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was growing up, my parents, I may not get along with my parents right now.
You're right.
But my parents raised me well. I had a good upbringing. But my parents were like that too.
Neglectful?
No, not necessarily, not neglectful, but back in those times, like, you didn't have to work. Like, you know what?
Oh, you didn't have to check in.
Yeah, you go ride your bike at night.
Leave the house. We'll see you later tonight. When the sun goes down, you should be back in the house.
Yeah, time for dinner, asshole. Like, but we didn't have the same worries that we do now. So that, to me, I didn't view it as neglectful. I viewed it as accurate because you didn't have to worry. You were able to say, you know what, like you said, you can go out, but when the sun sets, you come home. You were able to do that now. You can't really necessarily do that with kids nowadays.
Listen, I have Hispanic parents. I'm pretty sure they strap an ankle monitor on you so that they know your every move everywhere you go.
That ankle monitor is for your parents?
I'm pretty sure that's where that's from.
Okay.
They always wanted to know where you were, who you talked to, how long you planned on being there, how many breaths you had while you were in the vicinity of the area. When I lived in Hialeah, Florida, they literally, because it was kind of like, it's Miami. It's like they didn't want me kind of going too far. God forbid something happened.
Right.
But when I moved out to Naples, in Florida, they literally, because we lived out in the Estates, they didn't really care once I was out there. Because it was like, oh, there's long streets. There's nowhere to really go. He's just going to be riding bike or going in trails. And I got into more hijinks out here than I ever could have gotten into in the city.
Right.
So...
No, that's because it's so spread out down here.
Of course.
I mean, that's what makes it easy.
But dude, like I said, the parents were neglectful. Like, I want to know where the hell were Lucas's parents, because I don't ever think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think you ever see them. And the kid's taking his dad's military knife. He's literally taking things, his binoculars. I'm like, my dad would have noticed something missing within seconds.
Maybe we see him in season 2.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll find out that Will Smith's really his dad.
We never saw Dusty's parents either, did we?
I don't think we saw Dusty's parents. We saw obviously Will's, because that's when
we saw Will.
We saw Mike's
Mike
parents.
And Nancy's parents.
Yeah, and I think that's it. We saw Barb's parents. How the hell are we going to see Barb's
mom?
We saw Barb's mom before we even knew what Lucas's parents looked like.
As she said, "Oh, she's missing. Huh? I'm going to keep whipping these potatoes up."
You know, that's what kind of like mentioning Will. I wonder how he's going to play as a character in season 2, because he didn't really get any place in season 1 other than kind of talking through a wall or being in the first episode and the last few seconds of the last episode. But I wonder if he's a strong enough actor to, like the other kids are, if he's actually going to fit the dynamic or throw it off.
Yeah. It's true, because, I mean, outside of being a creeper, taking pictures of Nancy, which ended up,
Oh, his brother? Yeah.
But that was the key. Oh, I'm sorry, not Will. Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Sorry. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, it's Will. I mean, the entire first season was based off of basically Will Byers' disappearance. I mean, that was chapter 1.
I kind of feel like they brushed under the rug how creepy Jonathan taking pictures of people in the woods was.
I agree.
And Nancy kind of just wished that away. Like, everyone got mad at Steve for like dropping his camera and make Steve look like an asshole. His friends were assholes, but Steve was actually kind of justified in that.
Turned into a
If
leaf.
somebody was taking pictures of you and your girlfriend while you were out like at a pool party, somebody was taking like voyeuristic pictures from the.
I'd be
Tell me
pissed.
you wouldn't be pissed and you wouldn't do what he did.
Unless you paid me, I'd be pissed.
Well, yeah, 'cause you're weird like that. But I just don't need that in my life. You know what I mean?
Right. No.
That's one of those things. Like I feel like they really just undersold that. But I guess they're kids in high school, so they're not really focused on that. But
no, yeah, and you're right. But to that point, tying it back to like the parents being, I guess neglectful. Mm-hmm. Maybe that wasn't as big of a thing back then. Maybe you didn't have to worry about peeping toms and voyeurs. Like, think about Back to the Future. Marty McFly was, his dad was being a peeping Tom. And he was, you know what I mean? But that was in the 60s. 1965.
Okay, you mentioned Back to the Future, so I just got to ask this question because Family Guy touched on it, and it is so true. How in the living hell did George McFly not assume that his wife cheated on him? Marty doesn't slightly resemble the Marty that was back when they went to school. It is him. It's an exact replica. Sounds, looks, probably even smells like the same guy. You know what I mean? Like in Family Guy, they're like, did you meet up with him about 18 years ago or something like that? Like that, I don't know how they brushed over that. Like that's, with all the perfect writing they had in Back to the Future, that's the one thing that bugs the shit out of me. How does George McFly not ask Lorraine, why the hell does your son look exactly like the guy who set us up in high school? What the hell are you not telling me?
Maybe he doesn't remember. But no, that's a huge loophole or a plot hole.
Yeah.
I mean, there's in 80s movies, there's plot holes galore of some of the greatest movies. Karate Kid. You cannot kick anybody to the face. How does Daniel LaRusso win?
Kicking him to the face.
Kicks him in the face with the crane kick. Plot hole. Like, you have that all the time.
It is what
Maybe so there you go. There's the Stranger Things plot hole. It's not creepy to take pictures of chicks through windows.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited for Stranger Things season 2. I know I'm going to binge watch the living hell out of it, and thank God for Netflix putting out series like that, because that's kind of the way I like to watch my shows now.
All at
it's
once,
really weird because it's like I don't enjoy commercial breaks. Like, I'll literally pay for Hulu just so I don't pay extra on Hulu, so I don't have to have commercials, because I'm kind of tired of that. Like, it takes you out of what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
I like the story to just continue. That's why I enjoy these 50-minute long uninterrupted episodes, so I can just really dig in and just like get lost in the story. Because when you come home from work and you're watching your favorite show, you don't want to be constantly interrupted by a Valtrex commercial or what Foot Locker's doing this damn week. Like, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
And at least there's no political ads.
Oh my God!
We got another.
That's a whole other episode for that. I can't deal with that. I can't even look at the White House right now. It makes me want to throw up.
What I think is cool about the being able to binge watch stuff, and like I'll use Stranger Things, as the example, is those are 52-minute episodes, and they go by and it seems like 15 minutes.
Oh, I know, really, because you're so into it.
Right. Yeah. And not all TV shows can do that. The Walking Dead, sometimes it does. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you're like, oh my God, why is this episode still going? What time is it? It's been on for 20 minutes. It seems like it's been on for 3 hours. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Since you brought it up, let's just kind of go into that. We kind of covered Stranger Things.
Let's cut it.
We're going to go into Stranger Things Season 2 once we're done watching it. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you thought it was a fantastic show. I did. I loved it. It's easily in my top 5 favorite shows of all time now. So it is. That's kind of a done story. Now, Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 1, The War Starts.
The war started. Yes.
The war started with Negan. Let's jump into that. What did you let's give opening thoughts on the episode, and then we'll kind of go on to the things I kind of thought were awesome or not so well.
I thought the episode, first of all, the way Walking Dead is not written like Arrow and Flash, where they resolve their problems in one episode.
Yeah, they really don't do that.
I knew it was gonna. I knew that it was gonna drag out. I thought that it would have at least kind of started instead of like where Rick and all of them infiltrated the Saviors camp. You know what I mean? Yeah, I thought that it was actually that it was going to start a little bit more than that, rather than like manning your battle stations and placing your ships on the board kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's a typical Walking Dead episode. I thought if I'm comparing it to Season 7, Episode 1, it's awful. Because Season 7, Episode 1, people got killed.
Yeah.
People got slaughtered in that. Now, if you compare it to Season 6, Season 5, it's a great first episode.
Yeah, but I think nothing's going to ever beat the stakes of when you lost Abraham and Glenn in the same episode. Not. You know what I mean? Plus,
suck my nuts.
They literally carried... They literally carried the tension from the Season 6 ending right into the Season 7 opener.
Yeah.
And Negan is by far my favorite villain that they've ever brought on that show.
Negan might be like my top. So like when I think about like my favorite television characters, Ari Gold is hands down my favorite television character of all time.
Who? I'm sorry?
Ari Gold from Entourage.
Okay.
I think he's the levels and the layers that they've shown of him is great. Negan, I love Negan, but for all of the different reasons of that. He has no levels or layers. He's just, I'm going to kill you.
He's pretty much one-dimensional.
Yeah.
But he is the best kind of one-dimensional character that you can have.
Yes, I agree. I mean, the Lucille's almost its own television character.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
He has like a sick, almost like perverted like relationship with that bat.
Yeah.
He goes to sleep with that fucking thing.
He
and
probably
wakes up
does.
with marks.
He probably, yeah.
Yeah, because she bites back.
That's right. Oh.
I will say this, like I really liked how the episode started with Rick's speech to all the people trying to get them kind of motivated. It's one of those things like, yeah, it's not as like tense and like what the hell's about to take place, like what happened in the season 7 opener, but it doesn't always have to be that.
Right.
Because I tend to think like The Walking Dead is a lot like the Saw series in the respect of there's really not too many, oh my God, we're going to make it moments. There's a lot more, holy shit, we're fucked. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That tends to be the overall like feeling throughout the show. Every time they make 2 steps forward, they're kicked 5 steps back.
Right.
And that's always kind of like part of that struggle. Like I don't even worry about the zombies. Now they have like thousands of zombies. I'm never worried about the zombies anymore. I'm more worried about Negan.
Right. And that's what's cool about this show is that the show, it's called The Walking Dead. It's about zombies. It's about the zombie apocalypse, but they've done such a good job of writing that you're not worried about zombies anymore. You're worried about people. I'm a living person, and I'm more concerned with you as a living person than I am as that entire pack of zombies that are walking up the highway.
Correct. I mean, if those pack of zombies come upon you, yeah, you'll be worried then. But,
oh, yeah. Right.
But I get what you mean. They definitely try to make it seem like the threats are nonstop, and they're obviously more prevalent with the living people. Because how some of those characters got snuck up on to die in The Walking Dead with zombies that literally, like, they don't run. Like, and if you look at the movie Dawn of the Dead, they're running top speed.
That, and then what's the one with Brad Pitt?
World War Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're, like, literally, like, forming a wall to climb over and do all this crazy shit. Like, in The Walking Dead, they're, like, slugging along. Like, I get it if you just kind of get cornered, but, like, I don't get it, like, how, what was the guy that in, I think it was, like, in season 2, he died out in the field? The one who had the RV...
Oh, Dale.
Yeah. Yeah, Dale just got snuck up on in the dark. I'm like, didn't you hear that?
Yeah.
Like, you don't hear that? Come on, bro. Like, they don't stop making noise. They don't know they don't know how to be sneaky. They're dead.
Exactly.
And that's Carl's fault, just for the record. That's absolutely Carl's fault.
Coral.
But I like how, like, Rick and Maggie are kind of like now, like, the 2 main voices.
Yeah.
I mean, even Ezekiel, Ezekiel? Yeah. Ezekiel is, to me, one of the coolest characters they brought on. Even though he's got the, like, Jesus complex to him.
Right.
I definitely think that the unity of those 3, the kingdom, the hilltop. Maggie's kind of like the leader of the hilltop now, if you really think about it, because their freaking leader sold them out.
He's a douche.
He's such a douche. He plays an awesome douche.
He does.
Give him that, but he's absolutely a douche.
Yep.
And then Rick, obviously, being the leader of Alexandria.
Right.
The fact that those work together, to basically make the ultimate team to go against Negan, even though they're all together, I still feel like they're not enough. Like they're hiding something that Negan must have some kind of trick up his sleeve, or must have more people than we've even seen so far.
He has to.
Because he didn't look worried at all.
Well, he has the garbage pail kids in his corner.
How funny was that when she's like, you with him? I lay with him after this? And Michonne's like, no, you're not going to sleep with my man. She's like, That lady was so weird, man. I don't know why the hell they talk like that.
They're going to be in it. They're going to be part of the war.
I know.
They have to be because they're...
Can they just wipe out those people first? Like, please.
Yeah. Like, what is the point of them? I'm hoping that at some point Tara gets all of the chicks to come and fight with them. I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
That would be great. I don't know if that will happen. And that's the thing that's cool is I don't know if they're going to play it like they do in the comics or if they're not. Because they have a history of going...
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't read any Walking Dead comics, and I need to because I hear that they're awesome.
They're great. I
haven't read a single one.
I'm completely up to date on every comic.
I've always been reading up on Marvel and DC stuff, so I guess I've never really touched it, but why not? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. It's to me, like I said, that's what's cool is like if you read the comics, and here's this, I don't mean to give you a spoiler or not, but Carol is not a badass in any sense.
Oh, they definitely take liberties with the source material. There's no doubt,
Which Daryl's not even in the comics.
I don't know. And he's one of their favorite. He's one of the best characters on the show.
Yeah, he's the biggest fan favorite of the entire show, and he's not even a comic book character. So he is a complete wild card in the respect that I don't know what is going to happen with him. You don't know what's going to happen with him, and nobody else does either.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he may enjoy men. Which, not that there's anything wrong with that.
There's anything wrong with that.
It's a Seinfeld reference if you don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think too many people will get that, but I hope that there's people out there that will.
If you don't get Seinfeld references at this point
I
in
know.
life, come on, guys.
It's frustrating. I just find so many more people that don't enjoy it, and then when I do find somebody that does, it's like you just want to point at each other from across and be like, you.
Right?
Like, you
I'm aware of you.
I'm aware of you. I will say that, did you notice that the music in this episode, have you ever played The Last of Us on PS4?
I have not.
Oh, you need to play that. That's essentially, it's like the Walking Dead game,
Right.
essentially, but the stories there are amazing. But
Not the garbage
they're very
games
much
they
like
have.
strumming of just like a guitar, just like the music in this episode was just so like soothing, haunting, all at the same time. And very much just told the story of what, like, the emotional chord that's going through
Right.
the episode.
Yeah.
I would say the weakest part of this episode was Rick's weird dream, or
Yeah, the foreshadowing.
yeah,
maybe
I don't know, where he's got the old Arnold 90s flat top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird for me, man. I mean, maybe they'll explain more of it. Maybe they're trying to treat it like Arrow flashbacks. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
For
gonna
me,
create a
it was the
flashpoint.
weakest part of the episode.
I agree.
I love Rick's countdown though. When they actually pulled up at the Savior's compound, and
Yep.
he goes, "You're not going to make me count, are you?" And he starts counting down. He doesn't. I think he makes it to 6, and then starts opening fire on
So
Negan.
what's funny about that is I tweeted out and I was like, man, Rick is like the old gangster in the Home Alone movies that doesn't wait until he's done counting to start shooting.
1, 2,
10. And I got 85 retweets of that. Just like people just like, oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Keep the
And it's,
change, or filthy animal.
and little things like that are funny. Like when you notice things like that.
I will say this too. Like, did you notice that Negan? This is like the first time Negan kind of felt like the weaker one of the two. Even though I know he's got like an ace up his sleeve somehow, he felt weaker in that moment because you saw even his people start to be like, "Yeah, maybe we should talk about this.
Right.
Maybe we should consider Rick's offer." And Negan would just for a second seem slightly undermined, which is a weird thing.
Which is cool, but also at the same time, that could be Negan wanting you to see that. That could be the whole part of his plan is like, okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought for sure that they were gonna take Carl out or something at the season 7 finale. I literally thought this would be the one, like he'd kill Carl, and that would send Rick over the edge to finally get it done. And at this point, honestly, it probably would not bother me. Because I kind of feel like the kid's a punk in a lot of ways. Like, he hasn't really grown into a man at all. If anything, he constantly undermines his dad. And it bugs the hell out of me when he does that. It's like, your dad has done stuff that you could never do. And you look at him like he's the pussy. Like, come on, please.
Right, yeah.
That just doesn't work for me.
It's true.
But Negan literally had him, and that was I got so like, it's almost like it scares you when you see Rick scared, because Rick's always kind of been the badass on the show, and kind of like he's been stressed in a situation, but he's never had that look of despair in his eyes, that like bloodshot, teary-eyed look, like I am screwed, and angry all at the same time. And when he told Negan, "I told you already, I'm gonna kill you." Like, when he finally said that to him, I was like, dude, yes, that is the Rick I've been dying to see.
Yes. I want to see long hair, bearded Rick.
Yeah.
When he bit the neck of the
guy who was trying to rape
guy that
Carl.
was trying to rape Carl.
Yes, that's exactly the one that I want to see.
That's what I want to see.
The guy who shot the 2 guys in the bar that were there when he was there with Herschel, Nebraska.
Yep, that's the Rick that needs to come back, and I have a feeling that he's going to make an appearance again. But we'll see what happens Sunday.
I never watched the teasers for the next episode, because I don't like being like, oh, I haven't seen that scene yet, so this person's clearly still alive. It's the problem I have with movie trailers. My mind puts too many pieces together, and I'm sitting there in the movie checking that box off. I'm like, I have seen that scene. So clearly the character isn't dead here, because I still haven't seen that thing I saw in the trailer for the episode or the movie. So
Well, and Walking Dead has a history of stay tuned for for clips of throughout the season, and you're like, whoa, I don't want to see clips.
No, don't show me that.
Show me clips. That's fine. If you want to show me clips, show me highlights of what to expect next episode. I don't want to see like, man, at some point, Father Gabriel, he turned on Rick. At some point, he's going to do that.
I really hope he doesn't.
And then, no, they showed that in like season 4, I think, is when Gabriel turned on him. But they showed that after the first episode. And then going through like 6-7 episodes, you're like, man, when is this going to happen? I don't want to know. I don't want to sit there and go, man, when's Father Gabriel going to turn on Rick? I just want to sit there and sit on my ass on my couch and watch.
What do you think about Gabriel saving the... Well, I always forget. What's his name? Is not Dwight. The guy from the hilltop. The
Douche.
One. Yeah, Douche. We'll call him Douche for all intents and purposes.
Jerry? No.
No, we're gonna. There's probably people screaming at the podcast right now.
Right.
But honestly, I know what it is. It's just one of those shows. Like, he's not the most important character, so I'm not gonna remember his name. If you want to look it up, that's fine. But Gabriel getting out of the car to save him and then getting left behind, isn't that so frustrating? Like,
yes, I think it's cool in a sense, but what I think is. What bothers me the most about it is that I saw that coming. Yeah. I saw that already coming, and then when it happened, it still pissed me off. And I was like, still, like, I hated that it happened because Father Gabriel has finally turned into a character that I can respect.
Yeah.
Because before...
Unlike Eugene, who you've lost all respect for.
Yeah, like, come on, Eugene. Like, what are you doing, man?
I will say that I am affirmative in my actions to make sure that Negan, and I am Negan.
Gregory. His name was Gregory.
Gregory
the douche.
Gregory the douche.
I didn't like it. I was hoping that at some point during that episode, somebody was going to see the car that Gabriel was driving not have Gabriel in it and just kill Gregory.
Yes.
I was hoping it was either Maggie or Jesus. Which sounds weird.
I really hope that Jesus is the one that kills Gregory and becomes the leader of the hilltop. Like, even though Maggie's kind of taking that road because Jesus doesn't really want it. It sounds so weird when we say Jesus, but it's the guy's name, and they shouldn't have named him that based on how his character looks. Like, that's too on the nose, damn it.
That's why they named him that.
And Jesus lives in the kingdom with Ezekiel. Speaking of Ezekiel, who the hell trained that tiger? And how the hell does the tiger know which team to go after? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when they saved Rick and his crew, like, the thing was only attacking the saviors. Like, do the saviors have like a special scent on them that the tiger can go after?
ESP.
It's
ESP, like Siegfried and Roy. Maybe Ezekiel sleeps with the tiger.
I hope not, bro. Them animal rights groups will lose their freaking minds.
You know what was cool though is that before the episode aired, they had a behind the scenes look of how they actually do Shiva. And it's just a guy in a green suit.
Oh, no kidding.
Shiva is 100% CGI.
Oh, you can tell it's CGI, but it looks pretty good for the show.
But it's funny, though, like, when you see, like, a guy in a green suit, like, tackling people.
And then, like, biting on their neck.
Yeah, and the guy literally, like, he sits there and he tackles them and he gives them, like, the mauling motion and everything. And you're like, man, like, it's...
that's the magic of movie making or show making. It's just you see how some things look on one end of the camera and what they turn it into.
Right.
I mean, I think all the prequels of Star Wars were pretty much done on a giant green screen set.
Yeah.
Like, only until, like, The Force Awakens did they start using practical sets again. It's amazing just how much you see in those movies. And you're like, none of that took place anywhere. What was the Jungle Book?
Yeah.
That was completely done on a soundstage.
Right. Yep.
That's insane. Like, because that movie looked real.
Yes, it did.
That's where I'm excited for things like The Lion King, because that's going to look insane.
I agree. I hope.
All right, so final thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 1.
I liked it. I think it did its purpose.
Set up the season.
Yeah, it set up the season. I was hoping for a little more action, but the action that we got, I was okay with. I had people that were tweeting at me like, I can't believe that you liked it and you're okay with all of them shooting the guns and not a single person getting hit with the gun. And I'm like, well, they were trying
to flex their muscles and be like, you're not the only big player here.
Right. Anymore. They were flexing their muscles, and B, they were shooting up the windows. So when they drove the RV in there, it didn't like it had more of an impact and an effect.
Yeah.
Like, so you're missing that whole thing while you're just looking for something.
And
like,
it scares the hell out of the people in there because just how many guns are out there that all our windows are completely getting shot in from almost
Exactly.
It's a message. It's literally sending a giant middle finger. I love how Rick took that Polaroid, too, of Negan all, like, bent over in the corner, scared because of the gunshots. I wonder what the hell he took that for.
I don't know, but
maybe he just did it to smile at it later.
I'm hoping that'll be a good memento coming up.
Absolutely. All right. I feel like I'm going to give that episode, if I had to give it a rating, let's go out of 10 until we can figure out whatever kind of rating system we want to start doing for this. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it was good. I don't think there was too many slow moments. The only reason it's not a higher score for me is because the dream of Rick that's not really truly realized. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that is. But I guess we'll find out.
Well, so you know how they say black don't crack, right? How come Rick is this old man? He's got this long ass gray beard. He's got this short gray flat top, and Michonne looks like identical.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. They just age. They just seem to age better than us.
But they even seem to age Carl because they didn't even show Carl. They just showed the side.
They should have just put some peach fuzz on his face and the hell with it, man.
Yeah, and an eye.
All right. All right, let's get into, just to kind of wrap things, we're going to kind of go over a little questionnaire to get to know each other a little bit, and I feel like this would be the perfect time to crack open a beer because this is the relaxing part of the podcast. Right?
Yeah. My beer's gone.
It's all right. You can always get another one. That's the beauty of having beer in your house. All right. These are questions that we can tweak later on, but I feel like if we ever bring anybody on the show, we should ask them this stuff.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Just to kind of get an idea. These are stupid questions that most people just ask each other all the time, and these are usually like topics that get people kind of like picking sides, one thing or the other, or it's just going to sound completely ridiculous. Either way, I don't care. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it.
All right. Toilet paper. And maybe I should probably just not leave that dead air there. Like, they'd be like, what the hell about toilet paper?
Ply, 2 ply?
If you put it on the actual hook,
Yep.
Are you putting it over or under to pull it?
It's funny you ask that. I am 99% sure at one point in my life I was an under guy.
Oh my
but I
God.
am an over guy now.
I'm learning a lot today.
I am an over guy. You can look at all the toilet paper. I have 2.
I am gonna walk into every restroom in this house, and I'm gonna look to see if you're keeping your word on this.
Well, let's just keep it real. I only have 2. I don't live in a mansion.
Well, still, that's 2 chances to prove you wrong if you have it upside down. You better hope that Roxy didn't change up your game here.
That's right. Who knows?
I'm gonna say I'm definitely an over.
Okay.
I don't know how people rip it when it's underneath it. It's a lot easier for me to rip from the top. That's the way I look at it, and I'm not really gonna change at this point. I'm about to kiss 30. It's not really a time to change these kind of things.
That makes sense to me.
All right, next up, Pepsi or Coke?
That is a great question, actually, because I drink both.
Oh, we can't do this. Are you kidding me? All right, go ahead.
My dad is a huge Pepsi drinker.
Okay.
That's kind of how I grew up drinking Pepsi. I like Coke as well. If I had to choose absolutely one, I would probably just choose Pepsi.
You like the sweeter aspect.
I like the sweeter aspect of it.
See, I like feeling like my insides are
car
burning.
batteries.
Yeah, but I want to feel like my insides are burning if I'm going to go down the soda route. Like, I'm definitely going to go Coke in here because I've never really heard of a Pepsi float. I've always heard of a Coke float. And I don't know what it is, but not even a canned Coke, because I actually think that weirdly enough, when you get like fountain drink Coca-Cola from places like McDonald's, it is some of the best tasting Coke you can have.
I think from what I've read is McDonald's actually puts extra sugar in their Coke.
Well, maybe that's why. They're maybe Pepsiing up their Coke. I'm sticking with Coke, and there's not a whole lot you're going to do to change.
You're like a Dr. Pepper there? That's your
I'm absolutely. If this is about Dr. Pepper, I'm going Dr. Pepper every time.
I hate Dr. Pepper. I'm not a fan of Dr.
Burn in hell. I don't know what to tell you. All right. Universal Studios or the Disney theme parks?
It's Universal, hands down. It's not even close.
No, we needed some explanation here.
I will use... Actually, Roxy and I were talking about this when we were at Universal a couple weeks ago.
Roxy's his woman.
Roxy
Keep mentioning the name.
She's the fiance.
She's the fiance.
So, Universal Studios, I use City Walk as an example.
Okay.
All right. Now, that's not one of the actual parks, but this is where
no different than like Disney Springs is part of the Disney.
So here's my point. Downtown Disney came before City Walk.
Yeah.
Downtown Disney was cool. Downtown Disney had a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
City Walk came and just completely shit on Downtown Disney to the point where Downtown Disney, they closed it. And we're like, you know what? We're going to rebuild. We're going to do a City Walk style.
But it's mostly going to be for buying stuff. It's not really.
Right. So now they have Disney Springs, which they advertise as basically Disney's version of City Walk, and it still sucks.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Disney Springs overall. Like, there's Cirque du Soleil is there, which I've never seen. I hear it's great, but I've never seen it.
Right.
I've never been in the Disney Quest.
Disney Quest is full of old, shitty arcade games.
See, I figured with all the money Disney had, they'd revamp that. That's why I didn't want to go
How is Dave & Buster's, any Dave & Buster's you go to, how is that much better than Disney Quest?
Especially when half the machines in Dave & Buster's generally don't work.
You must go to the one in Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say City Walk has more to do as far as now they have the chocolate factory down there, which I hear is really cool.
Chocolate factory, those milkshakes are.
I'm gonna go down there in a week, and I guess I'll find out for sure.
I'm lactose intolerant, and that shit is good. No pun intended.
There's definitely more nightlife at City Walk.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's definitely more shopping at Disney Springs. More things I would probably buy in the Disney Springs area. City Walk is more now restaurants and
nightlife stuff.
Yeah, like there's a tattoo parlor there. There's the movie theater. There's Bubblegum Shrimp.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Run Forest Run. Margaritaville. I know you love Margaritaville. Yeah, I went there with
those volcano nachos. You can't mess with those.
Yeah, those things are enormous, man. Those are definitely like they create fat people at Margaritaville.
That's right. Well, I mean, you're supposed to go there after
especially
you spend
since there's a damn Cinnabon like just across the parking lot.
Right. Well, I mean, you're supposed to spend all of your day burning calories walking Islands of Adventure.
Have you ever had a Cinnabon? You're not burning that calories on one Cinnabon in 2 days walking through that park.
That's true.
With all the chafing you'll get from all those water rides, you still won't burn enough calories.
Speaking of water, have you been to Volcano Bay?
Volcano Bay, I've not been to.
Volcano Bay is... I feel like Volcano Bay is in beta.
Oh, absolutely. It's in the middle of the city.
No, I mean in beta mode.
Oh.
Like... It's cool, but it's tiny. But there's so much
tiny.
But there's so much stuff stuck in it already.
Yeah.
But like when you get up on top of some of the water rides, or they're all water rides, obviously it's a water park. But when you get on top of some of the slides, you can see where they're going to expand it, and that son of a bitch is going to be huge.
I wonder what else property they bought, because Wet n Wild wasn't that big.
No, it wasn't.
So that's the only thing about Disney is that they have so much property.
Right.
That when they build the new Star Wars land and all that, they're going to literally have almost new theme parks.
Right.
They have all that available land, and you know that stuff's been paid off.
Have you been to Pandora? I haven't done that yet.
I have not done Pandora. I'm probably going to go next week and see all about it. Go at night, because they said that's the best time to go.
The stuff that bothers me about Disney, and I know a lot of it is still geared towards kids, like if you go to Magic Kingdom and stuff like that.
Epcot is more for adults, but it seems like for adults that just want to drink.
Right, yeah, like the food and, what is it, food and
wine festival, yeah.
But, like, I don't know, there's just something about Disney. First of all, it's so damn expensive.
Oh my God,
why is it so expensive? Like,
I had an argument with it. Not even an argument. I had a talk with one of my coworkers, and he was literally. We were kind of discussing the value in a ticket. He's like, "Well, Disney at least includes a fast pass in every ticket." I'm like, "No, all they did was just build it into the pricing."
Yeah,
because the ticket's way more expensive than a Universal ticket. A Universal ticket, if you add the fast pass, it's what a Disney ticket costs for the most part.
Yep.
So they're just giving you the option to take it or not take it.
Right.
He was like, well, no, that means everybody can participate in a fast pass the other way around. I'm like, yeah, but then you notice why people can't get on and off rides in Disney the same way you can in Universal.
Right.
Universal to me figured that out. I worry what Universal's going to do when their Marvel license is up.
Right.
Because that Marvel land that they have in Islands of Adventure, that's going to have to go.
Maybe, unless they
can't take DC because that's what Six Flags owns.
Right.
And if they open more Harry Potter, I'm gonna cry because I'm not. I understand there's a giant Harry Potter nation out there, but like, I'm not a giant Harry Potter fan. But all being completely transparent, I've only seen like 3 of the movies.
Right. I've seen all of the movies except the endings of all of them.
Really?
I have fallen asleep, and not out of boredom, but whenever excuse me, whenever we watch them, we always watch them way too late, and I always end up falling asleep with like 20 minutes left. And then I have to watch it the next morning.
Well, that makes sense.
But it's, I get why people like Harry Potter. I don't think that they're going to expand Harry Potter anymore. I could be wrong. Especially
I think they've expanded it enough.
Right. Well, especially to that side of the park. So if you've ever been to Islands of Adventure, when you walk in, right to the left is where the Marvel Superhero Island is.
Yeah, and then it goes to the right is where the Poseidon, and then it leads into Harry Potter.
Skull Island, which sucked, and
the outside looks so awesome. The ride was awful.
It was terrible. That line was so brutally long. Good thing we had Pokemon Go.
I know. Pokemon Go kept us going. I'm gonna say, if I had to judge the two theme parks, I would probably say Universal. But I almost said Disney for the main fact that I'm not a big fan of a lot of the rides Universal replaced the better rides with. I don't like the fact that they got rid of Jaws. They could have made Jaws better.
They could have. Like the one in California. I don't like the fact that The Simpsons replaced Back to the Future. Back to the Future could have stayed, and The Simpsons could have been opened up in a different part of the park where the Woody Woodpecker stuff is. Right. However, I love The Simpsons Land.
Oh, yeah. That's
the land
fantastic.
is
great. The taco truck is fantastic, too.
So are those donuts.
The Jimmy Fallon ride, I hear is cool. I hear the waiting is actually better than the ride, but I haven't been on it. So I would probably say I have more fun at Universal, but I can't deny that X factor. When you go to Disney, you do feel like a kid. The Magic Kingdom for me, I'll always get that feeling as soon as I walk in. Like, I need to take pictures with Mickey. I need to I need to go in front of the Magic Kingdom and take a picture and try not to fall in the 10 different people proposing to their girlfriend or the people that are doing that all there. There was literally a picture of 3 people doing it at the same time. Like, you guys couldn't wait 10 seconds, just give each other some buffer room.
Right.
But,
well, so I mean, and that is a valid point about Disney, is because when you get to Disney, you got to take the ferry, or you have to take the monorail.
Yeah.
You can't,
or the buses,
but you know what I mean. Like, you don't drive yourself. Correct. Like you do to Universal.
It's part of the experience. Yeah, right. Disney is all about making sure that everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, and I mean, and Disney does a great job. But I feel like if you were to tell me, hey, I bought you an annual pass. Do you want an annual pass to Universal or to Disney? I would take Universal.
I would too. So there we go. So Universal on both, we have something we agree on.
Plus the Grinchmas is pretty.
So far we agree on toilet paper and Universal.
That's right.
DC or Marvel?
You know the answer to this one. Marvel.
The sign behind me, your Captain America sign, should have told me everything. On this one, I'm gonna be like you on Pepsi and Coke. I love both. I probably lean more DC. Just because Superman and Batman are always 50-50 my favorite characters, even though Spider-Man can test that on the Marvel side. I do feel like people started paying attention to Marvel when all these movies started coming up, because I don't feel like too many people gave a shit about people like Iron Man and Thor before these movies came out.
I agree. Absolutely agree. And then it also has to do a lot with casting.
Yeah, I agree. Marvel's nailed casting.
Right.
Absolutely. I feel like DC had some slip-ups when it came to casting. I don't think Lex Luthor was a smart casting choice because it was so divisive with everybody.
Right.
But I will say that I've always been more fond of the DC stories because they're more like gods than anything else. You really think about it, Iron Man is just a Batman with a mechanized suit.
Right.
Okay? But Batman is smarter and knows how to fight better than Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Thor would probably be more like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And as far as abilities and that kind of thing. The Hulk is more like Superman, but Superman is way better than Hulk, in my opinion. Hulk is more like explosive awesomeness. Superman is the ultimate superhero.
Right.
You can't really name an ability that he's not the king of. The Flash and Quicksilver.
Yeah.
The Flash is better. And the Flash runs back through time. I'm sorry that's going to ape anything Quicksilver ever does. But I would probably say DC.
Yeah.
Just
to me, so here's what's funny about that is, comic wise, I prefer Marvel comics over DC. I like them both, but I prefer the comics.
Okay.
When it comes to movies, I prefer Marvel well over DC. But when it comes to TV, Marvel's TV series suck ass, in my opinion.
Unless it's on Netflix.
Right. Unless it's a Netflix, unless it's Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. Yeah, then unless it's a Netflix series, which, by the way, Punisher's coming out. Did you see the trailer for that?
God, yes.
Oh, my God.
When they had Metallica's music on it, oh, my God. They nailed that. Plus, I think, what's his name? God, I always forget the guy who played Shane. And the guy
I call him Shane.
John Bernthal.
Yes.
Yeah, he's amazing. I think he's going to be an awesome Punisher because they really fucked up that second Punisher movie, Warzone.
Yes, they did.
I think it was Ray Don. No, I almost said Ray Donovan. That's not what it is.
Or Ray Finkel. Not
Ray Finkel. Finkel and Ihorn. I think Thomas Jane in the original Punisher movie was better.
Yes.
But then again, we'll find out through this series if I kind of fall more towards the John Bernthal Punisher.
I just hope that. So what it seems to be though, like Marvel, they tie their TV and their movies kind of together.
I feel like lately they've been pulling that back, but yeah, they originally were showing things like they called the invasion, the event.
Right. But like DC is completely separate universes from TV and cinematic.
But they leave one caveat because there are multiple Earths.
That's true.
The movies could be on a different Earth altogether.
It's true.
That's me just geeking out.
But like I could like. For the life of me can't think of his name, but I want the kid who plays Barry Allen in the TV show to be in this Justice League movie.
I don't mind that they're separate, but I love Grant Gustin. He's an amazing Flash.
I think,
agree.
yeah.
All right, so there we have it. You're Marvel. I'm leaning more DC, but I love both. I think it's safe to say you love both. Better series. Even this is going to piss people off because they're going to be like, it's not even a thing. Back to the Future or Star Wars. And I'm only going to use the original trilogies of Star Wars. So 4, 5, and 6 to put up against the original Back to the Futures. The only Back to the Future.
I like them both. Back to the Future for me is going to win. And it's almost like an unexplainable reason as to why it wins.
I know. It's such a nostalgic thing.
I feel like I have a certain set of movies that if I'm scrolling through the channel guide on my DirecTV, Back to the Future, Jaws, Jurassic Park, and Twister.
You're a big Steven Spielberg guy.
Yeah. Any of those 4 movies, if those are on,
I'm putting them on.
I've posted on Facebook all the time. Whatever movie it's on, like if it's Twister, I'll put Twister, I will find you. Like if it's on, I don't care if it's on CMT, Audience, Telemundo, I don't give a shit. I will watch it. I will put on the closed captions and understand what they're saying. But it's almost to the point where, like, I can recite these movies line for line.
Yeah, me too.
Now, the Star Wars movies are great. I love the Star Wars movies. But like I said, there's just some level, and it could be nostalgia for me because I didn't see any of the Star Wars movies up until, like, 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
It could be that. I don't know what it is, but like I said, it's almost like an unexplainable reason as to why Back to the Future will win for me.
I'm going to say Star Wars because of one thing, because I almost said Back to the Future, but I'm going to say Star Wars because of one thing. The last Back to the Future movie. Back to the Future 3 is kind of a weak movie compared to the first. The first 2 Back to the Futures are amazing. Star Wars has a very slow opening in A New Hope, but once it catches its stride, it's fantastic. So I'm going to lean Star Wars in this one.
That's fair.
I also have a tattoo, so maybe that has something to do with it. All right, let's go wrestling here for a sec because we're going to wrap this thing up. DX or the NWO?
If this was 10 years ago, DX hands down.
Okay.
Now that I've been able to revisit stuff thanks to the WWE Network, the NWO was just like it was something else. It really was. If there was no NWO, there would have been no DX.
I agree with that.
Now DX was to me it was more fun, but NWO just literally ran shit.
I'm gonna lean DX here because they literally drove right up to a WCW event. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
yeah. That to me is amazing. They are literally the ones that started bringing to me the attitude to the Attitude Era.
Right.
Other than people like The Rock and Stone Cold, like I feel like they had equal parts to play there. They literally changed the dynamic of wrestling. So I'm gonna say DX.
That's fair, and they're both great. As you know, being a wrestling nerd myself, I love them both. But like I said 10 years ago, it would have been DX. Now it's got to be NWO for me.
Fantastic. That makes sense. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
I'm not getting too far in. I'm gonna say PlayStation because PlayStation to me has always been the single player haven.
Yeah.
Like I love single player campaign. If you're an online gamer, I understand why Xbox is your thing.
Right.
But PlayStation's always gonna have a special place in my heart because that's where to me most of the great single player titles are, and I'm a single player gamer all day long.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm the same way.
Standing urinal or bathroom stall? Stall. You don't want anyone looking at your junk.
It's not even that. I don't know if I have like a strong stream or not, but god damn it, man. I get backsplash on my pants like a motherfucker.
This might be now we're going into an R-rated area.
I don't know what it is, but I will go if I go to a urinal. I haven't mastered the urinal. I don't know if I stand too far away and it's ricocheting off or what it is, but
I'm gonna say stall just because I'm somebody who uses my peripheral vision more than people should. And it's sometimes unintentional, and I'm not going to have the accidental peekaboo. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to see anybody's junk, so I'm going to pick stall 9 times out of 10 when it's available.
That's
Unless
fair.
I'm by myself, then I don't care. I'm going to go to stall.
I'll give you that one.
All right. Let's see. Next question. Your 3 top comedians today or dead right now. Go.
Jerry Seinfeld,
Okay.
George Carlin, and that's tough for a third one. Who am I going to pick for my third one? Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac. Okay. I'm going to say Bill Burr,
Okay.
George Carlin, and funny enough, Jim Jeffries. Because
Okay.
Jim Jeffries, he's been growing on me these last few years. Like, if I had to say, like, I know Kevin Hart almost took that 3rd spot, but his last stand-up special just really wasn't all that great.
Yep.
And he's put out gold.
Yeah, oh yeah. Now, how about this? Let's say Dave Chappelle did not disappear. Would he be in your top 3?
Yes.
I would have to agree.
Because his
with
new
that.
stand-up specials are fantastic. I will hold judgment of him pushing out Jim Jeffries when I see his new special that's supposed to be dropping.
Right.
I'll hold off for that. But Dave Chappelle it's so hard. If this was a top 5, he'd be in it.
Right.
When I said top 3, I don't know why I picked 3. The 3 is the number we went with. That's what it's going to be.
That's right.
And final question to wrap it up. In your opinion, best movie of this year?
Oh boy. I gotta think about that one for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what movies I've gone and seen this year that I've actually
enjoyed.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm going to say Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was good. See, I couldn't remember if Wonder Woman came out this year or if it came out the end of last year.
That's what I'm not going to lie. I literally looked it up 2 seconds ago.
Okay.
But it's absolutely Wonder Woman. And I'm not going to lie, when I first saw it, I was kind of worried.
Right.
Because, Gal Gadot is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. One of the best looking women in Hollywood, in my opinion. Her acting in the Fast and the Furious movies, not the best.
But did it have to be the best?
It didn't have to be the best, but like you can have Christopher Walken in like a little short cameo, and you're like, I want more of him.
Right.
Like Denzel can play a freaking garbage man or a train station runner, and you want to see more of him.
Right.
She was one of those like throwaway kind of side characters that you were like, oh, it is what it is. And when she died, it didn't even make an impact.
It's true.
So like Han died in the Fast and the Furious, and you were like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
And then they got over it in this last one too quick, in my opinion, but that's whatever. But I would say Wonder Woman, hands down, best movie of the year. It had heart. It had like almost innocent comedy.
Right.
Like comedic moments, like between like the man and the woman who'd never really been around a man before. Like, to me, it just had the heart that I think Batman v Superman didn't have, and I think that's kind of why it didn't do as well.
Right.
But we'll see, because Justice League looks like it's going to be fun as hell. So Justice League might end up taking that from Wonder Woman.
I hope so, because, like I said, and you can watch Mike's YouTube series, Cinematic Fanatics, where he and I talk about Batman v Superman.
That's right.
And the way I look at it, you know what? I'll give you Wonder Woman too, because not a lot of great movies have come out this year, in my opinion.
Yeah,
They really haven't. And I don't mean that to downplay Wonder Woman, because that's one of my favorite DC movies that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I was not a big fan of Batman v Superman. Suicide Squad was to me. Mm-hmm. The trailer, that was, to me, Suicide Squad was one of those movies where the trailers were better than the movie.
yeah.
And there, in my opinion, in Hollywood, there's way too many of those. Whoever's making the trailers, make the movies too. Like, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's so many times where you're like, oh my god, I have to see this movie. This trailer looks great. Oh, yeah, that sucked. Never mind. Like I saw Detroit. Obviously,
I want to see that. I still haven't seen that movie.
It was a good movie. All Eyes on Me was decent.
So I haven't seen that.
It was. Biopics are weird because they're not 100% accurate. Now, the guy who plays Tupac looks identical to Tupac to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, he's still alive. But, like, there's just something about that movie that was very incorrect to me. Like, it just seems like all of the stuff I know about Tupac and Biggie, I was just like, I don't know if that's really historically accurate.
I would say the only other two movies that were kind of runner-ups to kind of put it right there with Wonder Woman were Get Out.
I never saw Get Out.
That movie it's Jordan Peele's first ever directorial.
Right, yeah.
Like, he did a fucking amazing job. And the only other one in there, because of how they revamped it and kind of brought it forward for a new audience, Power Rangers. Power Rangers was awesome.
I agree with you. I'm gonna take my back. I'm sorry, Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot. War for Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
I don't even know how I forgot that movie. I literally sat in the movie theater and spoiler alert. I won't even tell you why, but I cried.
I had man tears in War of the Planet of the Apes. It was an emotional movie.
It was. And that movie, for a 2 hour and 45-minute movie,
felt short.
It felt short. And it was actually to the point, it was so good that when the movie ended, I was like, it couldn't have gone for like 5 more minutes? Like, why is it over now? Like, you couldn't have extended this scene or that scene? Like, why is it over?
I think Andy Serkis did an amazing job as Caesar.
Yes.
In that movie. He sold it, especially when you see like how it got filmed.
Yes.
Like, even Woody Harrelson in that movie was fucking amazing. He was awesome.
Yes.
He was the perfect kind of like love to hate villain, kind of like Negan. Love to hate him.
Yep.
So I would say I love the fact too, as a plus side, the director of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes, Matt Reeves, is directing the Ben Affleck Batman movie.
Right.
And wants to make a trilogy out of those. And seeing how that guy knows how to do emotional gut punches, I want to see what he does when he dips his hands into Batman's world.
Yeah.
There's plenty of loss, heartbreak, and things that happen in Batman's world, whether it's Batgirl getting shot in the spine and being conformed to a wheelchair to become Oracle, the Jason Todd Robin getting killed at the hands of the Joker. There's so many places you could take that story.
Yep.
And really just sell it. But
I'm with you. I think we can do an entire episode of 2017 movie releases.
Yeah, I think we should.
I think we really should.
We'll cover that.
Why the hell not?
But I think we've covered enough for this. Is a pretty decent first episode.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all, my friend.
And we should do a lot. We're going to be doing a lot more. So if you guys enjoy this, please subscribe.
Absolutely.
Make sure you get this podcast in your feed.
Yep.
Because we're going to try to put them up weekly.
We're going to be on every podcast player, iTunes, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it.
We're going to be in your neighborhood, so let's just make sure you come and see us.
Your friendly neighborhood average Joes. That's right.